Well, the basic principle is to take carbon dioxide that is collected from coal-burning power plants and other sources on the Earth's surface and injecting that deep underground. And previous studies showed that it's possible to inject it into saltwater-bearing zones, but it's extremely expensive. If we can inject it into old oil and gas reservoirs that have not had the entire oil extracted, then the carbon dioxide actually works as a solvent, and it helps allow the oil to be more easily removed from the rock formations, and it can enhance the recovery, and therefore it's called enhanced oil recovery, and perhaps produce as much as was originally produced out of a well that would have been thought to be abandoned otherwise. That additional oil, of course, adds domestic oil if we do it here in the United States, and it cuts down on our demand for foreign oil sources. It also recovers additional energy resources that would not have ever been recovered otherwise. People would have just walked away from that oil field, plugged, and abandoned it. But now with this new technology, we're actually able to continue the life of these fields to be much more productive, perhaps producing as much as the original wells produced. In Michigan, that's over 1 billion barrels of oil that had been produced historically. And if we can go back into our reservoirs and produce that much again, that's an enormous resource that could be taken advantage of to help grow the economy, supply jobs, and just a major economic benefit to having domestic energy resources.
And you get rid of all that carbon.
The plus side, it's almost a fringe benefit, is to actually have that carbon then left in the reservoir, and so it's stored safely. We know that it'll stay there because the oil had been kept there for millions of years and never leaked out, so we know that it's a safe place to put the carbon dioxide. So it's really a win-win situation by getting rid of climate change causing carbon dioxide and at the same time getting energy resources. It also then allows us to do that technology and have it paid for by the produced oil rather than just simply spending money to get rid of the carbon dioxide, which would have caused everybody's energy bills to go way up. Now it's actually going to be paid for by the private sector because they're going to gain the benefit of producing the oil, and so the whole system will be built, and then we can continue to dispose of the carbon dioxide based on that infrastructure that's created. What they do is they chill it and compress it at the Earth's surface, and it becomes a liquid-like substance. So it's not being injected like gas, like you think of CO2 in the air today. It's actually compressed, chilled, and it's put down in a liquid form, and it more easily mixes then with the oil because of that. And there is a huge volume reduction. A ton of carbon dioxide at the surface occupies 17,000 cubic feet of space, but if you compress it and turn it into a liquid, it only occupies 50 cubic feet of space. So you get a huge volume change because carbon dioxide just behaves like that. And then you can pump it down using conventional pumps and just put it right in the underground environment and store a huge amount more than you would if you were at the surface of the Earth. This is what the rocks look like. If you imagine standing on the side of the Grand Canyon and look at all those rock layers, we don't have any Grand Canyons in Michigan, but we do have these wells that have been drilled through, and then we have the samples that have been collected as they drilled the well, so we know what the rock layers look like based on these samples that we have. So we have about 500,000 feet of core materials that are from wells all over the state of Michigan, and there we can then understand what the geology is like, study them, test them to see if they are the right kinds of rocks to inject the carbon dioxide into, or to perhaps find oil and extract oil from it. We view this like a rare books archive because it costs billions of dollars for private industry to drill all these wells, and so this is a value-added aspect that we have here at the university. They've been donated from private industry, and the cost of acquiring something like this again would just be astronomical. So these are rare individual samples that'll probably never be taken again. So we're essentially an archive plus a research facility, plus we do a lot of educational outreach. We go out to schools and talk to young people about the Earth and natural resources, and we have industry coming here all the time as partners to work on projects with us. Michigan is actually the largest state in the nation for using aggregate materials, and what aggregates are things that go into gravels, concrete, building materials. Michigan produces about 81 million tons of gravel every year that's used in construction. These shallow glacial deposits are the primary source of that material. So in mapping that, we also are able to determine where those natural resources are, make sure they're not in conflict with other uses like the use for groundwater. So this is a component of the shallow part of looking at Michigan's geology. and we have a large collection of that material as well. If you look at all these boxes up here, these are all those core samples, like the pieces you saw out there, and they're all cataloged and inventoried. We have this in a big database, and that's available on our website so that when researchers or industry want to come and study things, they can come and look at the core samples. They just pick out what they want from their from the website and give us a call, and then we set it up for them, laying it out on these tables as you see around here. They can come and study it, and then they go back and do their plans and see if it's economically feasible for their company to do the exploration here in Michigan.